Well, Trevor, we did it. 13 episodes of a TV series, 9 movies, a Disney theme park special, and endless commercials. We finally did it and watched everything that involved Ernest P Worrell. How do you feel?
I hate you, man. You know what I mean?
Hey, Vern, we moved your furniture and now we're gonna fire up the barbecue, Vern. We owe it all to you, Vern. But now you gotta move, Vern! Hey, Vern!
Hey, Vern!
Hey, Vern, it's me! I'm on TV!
I like that you said it exactly how he said it.
You know what I mean, Vern?
You know what I mean, Vern?
That is my favorite part of Ernest, is that catchphrase. It's been stuck in my head for a while.
It's been stuck in your head for 18 months now?
Yes, every night I sleep to it.
Alright, well, on that note, Trevor has just revealed a dark secret. Welcome to What Is This? A podcast about some of the weirdest, strangest, and probably a lot of things you've never heard of, but we're going to cover it. And this episode's going to be a bit different. Normally, this podcast is we watch a movie, and then we talk about said movie that's weird or interesting. But we did a little bit of an experiment, Trevor, and, well, explain what that experiment was.
We watched, for some reason, and I don't even know how this started at all, but we decided to watch everything in the cinematic universe known as Ernest, and there's a lot.
I could go into a little bit later on this episode why we covered this gentleman, this fictional character, but yeah, about a year and a half ago, we watched one of the Ernest P Worrell Cinematic Universe movies. They didn't call them Cinematic Universes back then, but at this point in time.
No, they should have, though.
They should have, and man, just imagine Ernest in the Avengers Endgame. I'd be all for that, actually. Just, hey, Steve, on your left.
You know what I mean?
Well, that doesn't happen. Nothing cool like that happens in any of this project that we went through.
They never even, referenced Ernest in the Avengers movies either. I'm surprised with everything else they reference in those movies, you'd think.
Which you think it's ironic, because again, we'll get into it in a second, but Ernest was technically owned by Disney for quite a while.
That's right.
So, yeah, you'd think... I don't know if they have the IP anymore. I'm going to assume no, even though some of these movies that we're going to cover is on Disney+. But, yeah, it's just strange. It's just... Basically, if for all you people that are, maybe under, 55 years old who don't know what Ernest is, basically Ernest was a mid-80s to mid-90s caricature of, just a southern hick that just got into this huge, pop culture icon, especially for kids. A lot of his stuff was under the Disney banner, the Tombstone Pictures, so it's, a lot of kid-friendly sort of movies. Basically, Trevor, I think as we were watching all of his oeuvre, he's basically a more tolerable Larry the Cable Guy. Would you agree with that?
Here's the thing. You when you talked about it there, you made it sound like you're a dummy if you've never heard of Ernest. I never heard of Ernest until you brought this whole thing up. I didn't know who he was either. I never watched a single second of this guy's act. So, and I guess what? I've seen Larry the Cable Guy's act. I've watched Cars and Cars 2. No, I didn't see Cars 2. I only saw the first Cars. Never mind.
No, we've also somewhat started the Larry the Cable Guy cinematic universe, because we did see Delta Farce way back when.
And we're not finishing that cinematic universe either. That was a one-and-done thing.
Oh, I don't know. I'm seeing on our list right now, buddy. Witless Protection, that's on our list.
I'm not watching Tooth Fairy 2.
We saw also Jingle All the Way 2, so that's off the list. So you've seen 2 Larry the Cable Guy non-car movies.
I will watch Jeff Dunham, though.
Oh, of course you love Jeff Dunham.
Jeff
Dunham is so much worse than Ernest. I don't know how you like that guy.
Think so. I think I'd rather watch a Jeff Dunham act, honestly. I'd rather watch Peanut do his little thing.
Well, there's no Peanut in the Ernest cinematic universe. There is some weird creatures, as we'll get to, but, I guess you're talking about, I'd never heard of Ernest. That doesn't make me stupid. You're stupid in other ways, but in this case, no, because, Ernest is kind of lost to the sands of time. Like I said, he was big in the late 80s, and his time of fame kind of ended like in the mid 90s, like 1997. So yeah, like a whole generation probably has no idea who we're talking about, even though right now on the YouTube that you're watching this on, or if you're listening to it on Apple, go to our YouTube channel where you can also see visual representation of this podcast. You might have seen this guy's face around, but it probably has no bearing at all, like media-wise, who this guy is. So let me break down just a little bit of who and what Ernest is. So basically, Ernest was I wouldn't say a mascot, but he was an advertising creature created by John Cherry III, who is a Tennessean ad agency executive. So, those type of guys are just trying to figure out, like, hey, who can sell our product? And they just came up with this very, like, oafish, very stupid Southern hick named Ernest P Worrell. And he was played by the now late, great Jim Varney. Trevor, even though you didn't see a lot of, or any Ernest, really, until, we went on this endeavor, you have more than likely heard of Jim Varney in previous projects.
No.
That's not true, because in terms of, like, probably, like, today's culture, Jim Varney's biggest claim to fame is he was the Slinky Dog in the first two Toy Story movies.
Oh, really?
Yes, he that gravelly voice that we've heard for the last 9 movies and other projects. He was that gravelly voice for Slinky Dog. Now, obviously, he's no longer with us, as I said earlier. He passed away due to lung cancer, so he has been replaced, but you can't replace Ernest. So just like how today, when like the Looney Tunes sound different, I'm just gonna say hashtag not my Slinky Dog.
I don't know. You think I really even cared about Slinky? I didn't care about him in this Toy Story movie, so that makes a lot of sense. That tracks with me.
Oh, but he's so cool. He can stretch up and, like, he can do a lot of things being a Slinky Dog.
I didn't have a Slinky Dog action figure, and I didn't dress up for him as Halloween, but you better believe I dressed up and had toys of Buzz Lightyear.
2 things. A, you're going to have to get a photo of you as Buzz Lightyear. I'm going to have to put that on the YouTube video. But also, I really hope you were going to say that your character that you dressed up as was Bo Peep.
Oh, no. My dad wouldn't allow that.
Back to Ernest. We're diverging here. Back to Ernest. So, again, John Cherry III came up with this mascot of Ernest P Worrell for marketing ads. He got his an acting buddy by the name of Jim Varney. Jim Varney is a classically trained actor. He was trying to be a serious actor at this point, but he was also a stand-up comedian, which, interestingly enough, Trevor, probably his biggest thing before he got this Ernest role, he was doing stand-up on, Johnny Carson's The Tonight Show, and he would tour with Robin Williams in the early days with stand-ups.
Oh, wow.
And if you could believe it, Jim Varney was getting very frustrated that he kept getting typecast as Ernest, so I'm sure he missed the days of going on binges with Robin Williams instead of, doing these projects.
Yeah, well, non-Ernest stuff didn't pay the bills, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Especially all the smoking. He was a habitual smoker. He smoked like 2 or 3 packs a day, apparently, on set for a lot of these movies.
Oh, he should have linked up with David Lynch then. They would have gotten to go along really well.
Can you imagine? He lived long enough for it. He probably could have done Mulholland Drive.
Or Inland Empire, yeah, that would be great.
I think he would have fit in the Twin Peaks universe, for sure. Can you imagine Ernest in Twin Peaks?
Yeah, that would work really well.
Like, hey, Vern, you got a light?
Creamed corn!
I wanted a 2x4.
That's all the Twin Peaks quotes I got.
A little bit more history with Ernest. So basically, again, he was an advertisement mascot, so he would do things locally for the Tennessee, like, basic cable or even local network channels. But eventually he started, him and Cherry start getting bigger offers of Hawk, like, merchandise. So he would do Coca-Cola and Hertz rental car and a bunch of other national products. But his big claim to fame was during the Indianapolis 500 around like 1985, 86. 2 Disney CEOs by the name of Michael Eisner and Jeffrey Katzenberg were there, representing Disney. And apparently, Trevor, if you could believe this, during a parade to celebrate the Indy 500, more people were reacting positively to Ernest, who was on a separate float, than Mickey Mouse.
Wow, that is surprising. Actually, no. Considering the crowd at an Indy race, they probably would prefer Ernest over Mickey Mouse.
You might be right, but also, given the history, we're in the doldrums of Disney right now. Obviously, as the franchise goes on with the Ernest verse, like, they would get back into it with, like, Little Mermaid and Aladdin and all that. But around this time, Eisner and Katzenberg were kind of desperate. So when they saw that, this guy was doing, like, a lot of, like, positive press and all that, it's like, hey, they went up to John Cherry and they're like, maybe we could make a movie or two with this guy and see how it works. And you know what? I feel like you can't do that these days. I feel like everything is just so, like, through a production line. And it's like, you can't just go up to somebody and be like, yeah, let's just make a movie off your character. Here's a couple $1 million.
I feel like it still does happen, but it happens now with, like, really dumb stuff and not good stuff like Ernest. Like, I don't know, there's that Kane Pixels guy who's got his Backrooms movie coming out as, like, that's kind of an example of a very, like, indie thing where a guy just made something because he thought it was cool, and now James Wan's like, hey, we'll give you a couple $1 million, and you're 19 years old, you can make a movie.
Man, 19 years old. I didn't even know what the hell I was doing with my life at 19. I can't imagine making a big budget movie with big names at 19 years old. But see, you're talking about the Backrooms. I was thinking more on the level of Ernest, so I was going to say more Skibbity Toilet.
Oh, okay. Or like the Hawk Tua movie that's probably going to come out. We're going to get her on the podcast, and she'll talk about her favorite movies.
Oh my god, what would her favorite movies be? I don't even know.
No, watch her be like a really huge, like Jenna Ortega is apparently like a huge cinephile. Watch like the Hawk Tua girl be like, oh yes, I'm a huge fan of of Hong Sang-soo film.
My favorite movie is the Andrei Tarkovsky's The Sacrifice.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, he would be doing 4 movies with Disney, and then once that Cal dried up, Disney kicked him to the curb. But they still made 5 more movies after the initial film agreement. So there's 9 Ernest movies, but we added a couple more because we did watch some extra stuff just to make things a little bit more interesting. So just to let you in on how the meat sausage works here, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know Trevor's list. I don't know what his number 11 is. I don't know what his number 4 is. I don't know what his favorite thing of Ernest that we've done for the last year and a half. So I think what we're going to do is I'm going to let you start, Trevor, on your number 11, and then we'll talk about that movie. I'll obviously say where it's on my list, and then we'll just keep going until, I guess, we'll hit the number 1. I will let you get started, Trevor. What is your, I guess, number 11 least favorite Ernest movie and or project we watched together?
I have a feeling we're going to have the same one, maybe. Mine is, of course, Ernest Goes to Africa.
Wow. Honestly, no. I thought that was going to be higher.
Oh, well, I'm glad this list is already complete. Okay, when we started this, I thought we were going to have, like, more or less the same list, but now I really don't know anymore.
No, ladies and gentlemen, there was no pre-production. We don't do pre-production here. We just wing it.
No, I did no research into this.
I mean, sometimes they feel a bit samey, yes, but I did do some research to remember certain key elements of the movie. But, Trevor, so that's your number 11. Ernest Goes to Africa is number 2 for me.
It's your second favorite?
It's my second favorite.
What the fuck? Okay, hold on. Now, we gotta talk about this specifically now, because I distinctly remember when we were talking, like, I think we were, getting ready to make this episode, like, a few Discord calls back. I swear to God, you were like, I fucking hated Ernest Goes to Africa. That's, like, the worst one. Why is that your number 2?
That's my number... You know why that's my number 2? Mostly because...
Well, now I have to change my list.
No, you're not changing this. That is your number 11 for perpetuity and for editing. I'm not changing it. It's number 2 because it turned into one of those movies where, yes, it's really, really bad. It's the second to last movie in the Ernest verse, and it shows. It's very cheap. It's very, like, poorly made, even for Ernest standards for this franchise. But, like, it's just one of those see it to believe it for me kind of movies, because I can't believe this actually got made for a variety of reasons. Mainly because of, well, let's face it, the treatment of certain ethnicities in this movie is just downright appalling.
That's why I thought you were going to put it at your lowest, because of that whole thing. Oh, that only makes it better, huh?
No, don't put words in my mouth. Frank already did that last episode. No, it's appalling. I'm not condoning the jokes, the quote unquote jokes that happened in this movie, but like it's just one of those. I was just so like, I guess as a British term, gobsmacked. Like just the poor treatment of certain people in this movie. It's like. It does feel like a Larry the Cable Guy movie. Ernest movies are mostly kind of nice and like they're not too mean. Like Larry the Cable Guy movies are mean and they could get very racist from time to time. But it's just weird. It's just a weird concept of a movie too. Why the fuck is Ernest in Africa?
Well, yeah, I don't even remember. Why is he in Africa?
He's in Africa because he has to save a friend who's trying to help a tribe who has jewels for a bad guy to get.
Okay.
But also the real reason it's in Africa is because this and another movie we'll talk about later, wherever it is on our list, is the movies went from being filmed in the southern hemisphere of the United States. It moved all the way to South Africa. This was filmed in Johannesburg and Cape Town.
Well, yeah. In Africa.
In Africa, yes, but it's mostly for production reasons. Because, Trevor, we've seen some movies in our day that are actually filmed in South Africa, and it was more for budget reasons than it was for, like, an actual plot reason.
Like Nuki. Or was that in South Africa?
Well, if it's not South Africa, it was definitely Africa.
Somewhere there, yeah.
Definitely Africa. But, like, you could tell also, like, they're trying to treat, like, the early pre-Africa scenes as, like, Ohio or whatever it's supposed to be. But, like, you could just tell from the signs and just from the decor. It's like, this is not American. Nothing about this movie is in America at all.
Okay, well, I was going to put Ernest Goes to Africa much higher, but then I was like, oh, the societal implications of, saying this racist movie is super high, and I was like, that got to me, and so I put it at the bottom, but now, I guess, now I don't know what to do anymore.
Well, your whole worldview has changed.
My whole list is gone.
For me, also, this was our first ever Ernest thing we ever watched together.
Wait, it was?
Yes, it was.
Oh, my memory's failing.
Your memory is failing. It's bad as Ernest.
Oh, well, okay. I guess a little bit of a spoiler. Later on, I want to talk about my Ernest theory, and, this kind of throws my whole theory out the window, because I thought a different movie was the first one we watched together.
Well, I mean, the theory could still work. You just gotta replace it with this movie. Would it hurt if I asked what the theory is now, or should I cut this part?
Okay. So my Ernest theory is that the best Ernest is whichever one you watch first. And clearly that's completely wrong because I put Africa at the bottom. But then again, what I put at the top, well, you're going to hate whatever I put at the top now then. So I guess this is we're going to have two very different top of the list, I guess.
Oh, if this is the start of the list, I can only imagine it can only go up from here. Hopefully in terms of content. So... I guess let's, we're done with Africa for now. So what is your number 10?
The next one is, and we're definitely going to agree on this, I really hope, is Ernest Goes to Camp.
Yes,
okay.
Same
number
one.
10. Okay,
number
yeah.
10. You're talking about theories about first ever or whatever. This is legit the first Ernest movie. This is the first one that got made. And you know what sucks about this movie is we see Ernest cry.
Yes.
I don't need to see Ernest cry.
Yeah, no, he shouldn't have emotions. Was he horny in this one, or wasn't he a little horny?
Folks, this is a Disney movie, so there's no horniness. Well, subtle horniness, maybe.
Or was someone into him?
No one's into him in this movie. In Africa, he has a love interest who's trying to save. In this one, there is like a nurse character that he's friends with, but I wrote this down because we were laughing at the trivia at this, because we've been using this ever since we learned about it, is that Disney did not want him to have a love interest. They felt like it was weird for someone like him to have a love interest. So I think the quote verbatim that John Cherry said, a Disney exec told him, is like, Ernest is smooth down there, like a Ken doll.
He is, I think, the best example of an asexual character in film.
Yes. I think in one of these movies, what we get to, I think he does have a love interest. He does want to like have a romantic interest with somebody, but for the most part of these movies, he's a concept.
Yeah.
He has no bearing of sex or anything like that.
Well, and I think even in that movie, it was like, it's the kind of way where like a 5-year-old is in love with his classmate, where it's like, they don't really know what they're doing. I just want to hold her hand. Like, I think that's kind of what Ernest is.
I don't want to really get into the this feeling, or just, I don't want to get into this image, but, like, I don't really need to know how Ernest works down there.
No.
Do I really need to know that?
I don't even know if he can pee. I don't think he has anything down there. He has a cloaca.
Yeah, it's like a pigeon.
Yeah, it just all comes out, yeah.
Oh, God, all comes out. Yeah, again, this movie is just also boring.
It is boring.
What I'm saying about Ernest Goes to Africa, there's one of the see to believe it, and there's also just this wild other cartoony shit happening in the movie. But with this, it's just like, it's kind of grounded in reality for the most part. There is some weird Native American mythicism happening here, which, again, questionable use of race is in this movie. Trevor, do you want to hear a funny note about one of the quote-unquote Native Americans in this movie?
Oh, you know I do.
Well, there's a plot point where, a land developer, it's always a saying in the fucking 80s and 90s, a land developer wants to pave out, like, where these kids are. In this case, it's a camp.
Capitalist wants to take over this town.
Today's age, he's the hero, goddammit. Yeah, this land developer wants to destroy the camp. A Native American family owns it. The old man, his name's Iron-Eyed Cody as a character. I just want to let you know, this guy always says he was Native American, but somebody did some research, and this dude was just an Italian pretending to be a Native American his whole life.
Are you serious? What do you mean? How?
I don't know how he got away with it. Well, I do know how he got away with it, because he was an actor in the 20s and 30s portraying a Native American, and I think he just went crazy and just thought he was really Native American.
Holy crap. Well, call up Frank and tell him one of his boys is doing some bad shit.
No, we're gonna have to. I mean, but he is also a little bit of a minor celebrity, because I'm sure you've never heard of this PSA, but in the 70s...
Was he the crying?
He was the crying Native American for those trash PSAs.
Oh my god.
He did it all the way to the grave.
It's kind of impressive.
It is a little bit impressive. Yeah, he went all the way to the grave just fooling people. So that's the only interesting thing about Ernest Goes to Camp.
Well, the other thing about Ernest Goes to Camp I remember we talked about was it's shot too much like a real movie.
Yes. So a lot of these movies, like I said, with Ernest Goes to Africa, and it will be for some of these other movies, is it's very cheap. And it ends up being like more like, being shot like it's TV. Some of these actually were shot to be like direct to video or direct to like TV, like Disney Channel. But yeah, this movie's like professionally made and like, no, thank you.
Yeah. And that doesn't work on Ernest. Ernest needs to be kind of wacky. And so trying to like... He's like, it looks like I'm watching The Notebook when I'm watching Ernest Goes to Camp, and so that was a big problem.
Okay, again, you want to know about the sexual history of Ernest, and now you want like this romantic, like him kissing somebody in the rain.
I want to see him in a wet t-shirt, just like whatever Ryan Gosling was doing in that movie.
I think there's probably more wet chew on his shirt than there is actual like water. Have you seen Ernest's face? I told you the actual actor was like smoked 4 packs a day. That dude didn't drink water in his lifetime.
Yeah, you could tell he had some jowls on him.
All right, well, that is Ernest Goes to Camp. So I guess Trevor, let us see what your number 9 is.
My number 9 was Ernest Rides Again.
All right, that is my number 5.
Okay, it's pretty high up for some piece of shit, but that's all right.
Well, why is it a piece of shit for you?
I just remember it was just really boring. It had like a British whole thing, which was stupid, and it was like it was like all about history, because that's the thing, like each one of these has like a theme, and I think Ernest Rides Again was all about like history, like British history especially, and like I don't care.
Yeah, it's about like, again, kind of like Land Developer. Here it's just like this rich guy who wants to get like a cannon from the Revolutionary War, because because a British royal crown is in it for some reason. It's very strange, the plot.
It was just Ernest trying to do the general, and I was just like, that's not really my thing.
You want Ernest and Shaq together to do a commercial?
Yes, honestly. I just don't remember liking this one very much. It's also, like you say, it is a little, not even just ill-defined, but I think the concept in general is just like, I don't really think it works super well for an Ernest movie. And you don't even really, like, based on the title, Ernest Rides Again, like, what does that even mean? What is he writing? He's never written anything before. Like, it's just not a super well-conceived one.
It's not. I think the title is in reference to two things. One, this is the first Ernest movie outside of the Disney license, so this is independently made. So I think it just means, hey, Ernest is back. But also, like, I think it's like because there is writing in this movie, Trevor, and it's why it's kind of my number 5. Because there, if you remember, there's this like 20-minute like sequence in the second act where it's like he's just riding on this like runaway cannon, and it's actually shot pretty well, and it's got some interesting stuff going on.
I remember what you're talking about, but I don't remember being as entertained by it as others. That's probably the best part of the movie. Yeah.
It is. Oh, it's definitely the best part because most of the movies focuses on Ernest's friend Abner, who's just this annoying nerd, like teacher character. And then there's his wife is overbearing, that stereotype, and then there's these like 2 like salesmen that follow everybody around. It's like most of the character here don't work, but I think the cannon ride just literally like propelled this to be in the middle of the pack for me.
And that's why it's on the bottom for me, I think, because that was all it had going for it.
Well, I guess let's go to number 8.
That is Ernest in the Army.
All right, not too far behind. That is my number 9.
I think the only thing I was interested in, at the end, where they're like, I don't want to say call them action scenes, but they had like some practical explosions or something like that in the desert, I think, right?
Yes, like the inciting incident, spoiler alert for Ernest in the Army, is like they're being chased by these terrorists.
Yeah.
Why Ernest is dealing with like pre-9/11 terrorists, I have no idea, but he's just in the army in the sand dunes of whatever fake Middle Eastern country they're in, and yeah, there's supposedly like mines underneath the sand, so sometimes just like explosions will happen. Yeah, they all look pretty practical. Like they're not like New World Pictures explosions, but like, you know, they put some money to make it look a little authentic when it comes to that.
They put some sawdust in a Pringles can and blew it up, and I appreciate that. I was reading a review for Ernest in the Army, and someone talked about the joke where he filled his canteen up with chocolate milk, and I thought that was hilarious, and I agree with them. So that was a really great joke in the Ernest universe.
What about he put like cement or whatever in flapjack mix?
Yeah, in the pancakes. Yeah, he like messed up the pancakes by filling them with like, I don't know, concrete or something. Like that was a good joke. Like I just remember there were like a few really solid jokes in this one.
Well, the reason for me why it's a little bit low on the list, it's his final movie out of this whole like repertoire, and like he's looking tired. He's looking old. He's definitely sick. I think he's either a few weeks or a few months away from being diagnosed with lung cancer, and it just kind of shows on screen. He has like no energy for the most part in this movie.
I think, you know, talking about the Africa thing, like obviously the movie has a bunch of prejudice leanings, and to me that made it a little bit funny as a time capsule for the time.
Yeah, well, like I said, this is pre-9/11, and like all this is about like Arab terrorists. It's like, God, can you imagine if this movie was made after that? Well, I guess we can, because Larry the Cable Guy eventually did it with Delta Farce.
And that's the other thing too, is I was thinking of Delta Farce the whole time, and so that made me laugh a little.
Your favorite movie?
My favorite movie.
We can't stop talking about it. Well, I guess that's for Ernest in the Army. What is your number 7?
I don't know why, but Ernest Goes to School. I think I don't know where to put this on my list, but I put it at 7.
That is also my number 7.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, maybe that's why we did it.
It's middle of the pack. There's some good... Here's the thing, if you recall about this movie. The first, 10-15 minutes is pretty fucking great. Just wild, Looney Tunes shit going on. There's, him doing stuff... the way I phrase this, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. He's in the bathroom doing stuff, physical stuff, good comedy with, trying to fix a pipe or a leak. And, there's also this weird thing. Remember, just randomly in the first 10 minutes of the movie, there's a guy on a horseback. He's the hall monitor or something.
Yeah. No, yeah. Isn't there a lot of weird surreal stuff in this one out of nowhere?
Yes, which I think I kind of know what our number ones are going to be, so I won't spoil it too much. But as our number one, it's the more surreal the movie or Ernest gets, the better the movie is.
Yes. And and I do remember when we were watching it, we were like, oh my God, this is going to be the best Ernest movie. And then it does peter out once I think the actual movie starts, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, so the plot is like Ernest needs to. It's actually a lot like Billy Madison. He has to go back to school so he can stay as the janitor of said school. So that's the comedy. Hey, here's this like really inappropriate aged man just being with a bunch of high schoolers, like really younger high schooler kids, and like it's also a Flowers for Algernon parody because there's a side plot of him getting smart via science teachers. It's kind of all over the place with the plot.
And then it becomes like a band thing where he like joins the band or whatever, and that was the worst part. Where I'm like, why are we doing this? You should just stick to the smart thing, like the Flowers for Algernon thing, because that makes a lot of sense. It like the whole band subplot was like terrible.
Yeah, and then it turns into just like how I said, like, oh, land developer. That was always a thing in the 80s and 90s. This one ends with the big game, like a big football game that makes or breaks the whole plot. And I'm like, oh,
yeah, it also has football. Like, there's too many like plots in this.
Yes, and just because this stars a young Will Sasso as a bully, that doesn't really hold my interest for 90 minutes. That's really about it for school, so I guess, what is your number 6? We're almost at the... well, actually, no, we are. We're at the halfway mark.
My number 6 is Ernest Saves Christmas.
Ah, that is my number 4.
Once again, I almost thought that this was the first one we watched. Was this the second one we watched?
This was the second one, so we watched for some reason Africa was first, and then we saw Christmas on like the Christmas year that we were starting this trend.
Yeah, so this was one of my first Ernest movies, and this was another one where I think it was like a little bit more professionally made, which was very jarring, I think. But I think the only reason I'm really ranking this high is because I love Christmas, and I love Christmas theme. I don't really love Christmas movies in general, but I think the Christmas theme of this really lends itself to me liking it a little bit more. It's more memorable to me.
Yeah, this is, when people talk about Ernest movies, this one comes up a bit. I think this kind of hit the cultural zeitgeist way more than Camp, because this is the second ever Ernest movie that was made. It's fun. It's not like, again, I guess it's middle of the pack for me, but like, there's just some things that I don't like. I think the child actor, it's all these movies actually, all the child actors are just so fucking annoying, and they don't really add anything to the movie. But like in this one in particular, Noelle Parker, I'm sorry, she's just not funny or entertaining at all in this. And like, but yeah, there's a lot of cartoony stuff, I think that's what really holds it together. And like, oh, one thing, although that's a pro and a con, we just kept laughing at how, so there's these two side characters that show up in the first couple movies. They're named Bobby and Chuck, played by Bill Berge and Galadard Sardan. They're also like John Cherry mates. They did like a bunch of like ads for John Cherry before the Ernest boom kicked in, but like they're just like bumbling oafs that you see in a bunch of these early movies. And yeah, their thing is like Santa's real in this movie. That's the plot, is Santa's trying to find a successor. So he's like, he can't fly the reindeer for whatever reason, so he has them boxed up and shipped out via like FedEx or whatever. And so Bobby and Chuck are just watching these reindeer fly for seemingly days. It takes a while for this plot to go, and like sometimes Ernest will do something funny, and then they just cut back to these two dealing with the reindeer, and I'm like, so they just don't go home? Do they live in this warehouse? What is happening in these sequences?
Yeah, and those two characters, I really don't understand why they're in so many Ernest movies, because like Ernest is already a bumbling idiot. Why do you have two other characters who are bumbling idiots? I think that it just clashes a lot most of the time, and they're really not that funny.
No, they're not. We'll get to it with maybe some other stuff further in this list, but like, yeah, they're John Cherry really wanted these two to work. And again, they were, I think it's just a family. These guys were part of Ernest for a good chunk of the run. They were part of John Cherry pre-Ernest. So like, I think it's just guy throwing a bone.
Yeah, it's like Rob Schneider and everything Adam Sandler does. It's like, yeah, okay, sure, whatever he has to come with.
I mean, I've seen some terrible Adam Sandler stuff, but him continuously giving Rob Schneider work is cinematic terrorism.
Well, on that note, is there anything else to say about Ernest Saves Christmas? Because I think that's about it for me.
We're on 5. Okay, so what is your 5th movie on this list?
The first of the non-cinematic, well, it depends on what you define as cinematic, because this is Ernest Goes to Splash Mountain, baby.
This is my number 6. Also, just side note, there's nothing other than camp. There's nothing cinematic about this.
They shot this on the Disney World campus, so that's pretty cinematic.
Let me set the scene for you. So yes, this is one of 2 non-cinematic things we have on this top 11 list. So again, Disney, Michael Eisner, Jeffrey Katzenberg, they really got to be friendly with John Cherry and Jim Varney, and at the same time, Disney was unveiling their new ride, Splash Mountain. Now I think it's like Tiana's Waterfall.
Yeah, it's the Princess and the Frog, I think, right?
It's Princess and the Frog. This one was like the totally not troublesome Song of the South is the theme of Splash Mountain. There's nothing wrong with that movie, right, Trevor?
Well, when I was a kid, I fucking loved Splash Mountain when I was a kid. That was the only thing I cared about going on at Disney was Space Mountain and Splash Mountain. I just love mountains, I guess. But specifically with Splash Mountain, like, I had no idea it was racist. I was just like, oh, it's a funny little talking rabbit and fox trying to eat him. Like, that's all I saw.
Like, I just love how I just started. It's like, oh, Trevor, there's something wrong with Song of the South, and you're like, no. Anyway,
No, there isn't. You woke warrior. Like, I don't care. No, I mean, obviously, it's looking now as an adult, I'm like, okay, yeah, I see the problems. But as a kid, I didn't see it.
Look, that movie gave us Splash Mountain and Zippity Doo Dah,
Exactly.
which is a song you still
banger.
hear in the park.
Yeah,
it is a banger. It's
great.
It's actually, yeah, it's a great song. But yeah, good reasons we don't hear it anymore. At least the movie. Although Cowards, they did say when Disney Plus was first starting, I forget who they've had 2 CEOs since then, but like the CEO at the time's like, yes, everything is going to be on Disney Plus. And Song of the South, for weird reasons, is just not on the platform. I don't know why.
But Ernest, he loves Song of the South, I'm sure, and that's why he agreed to do this.
Oh, I mean, I think this movie takes place in Florida, so yes, absolutely he does.
And yeah, so that's why I rated this pretty high, because it was also just funny to see Ernest go on Splash Mountain. Like, they did this whole build-up thing for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, so yeah, the conceit is, talking about like, does anybody remember Ernest? I'm sure nobody outside of like a younger demographic even knows of this, but there was a time where people, like theme parks, Disney, but also like Universal and others would like, really like hype up their theme parks. So in Disney's case, this was like a made-for-TV thing for ABC, I believe. But like sometimes they would make like VHS tapes of like, hey, here's the park and here's these great interesting rides, and they would like do montages and like skits to get you like hyped up for the ride. In this one, it's just it's Ernest prepping to go on the most extreme ride Disney has ever made, Splash Mountain, which is so hilarious because yes, going down a huge waterfall drop is
pretty scary.
It can be scary, and especially when you're a kid. It's pretty extreme, and this is
pretty scary.
This is aimed for kids. I don't think this special was aimed for adults, really. But like, yeah, it's just so funny because like you go on that ride or any log flume ride, and I'm like, oh, I'm just inconvenienced being wet for a couple minutes. Like, there's really nothing extreme about these type of rides.
No, I'm still scared to go on that Jurassic Park ride. I can't handle them anymore.
The last time I was on that Jurassic Park ride, when I was getting on it, the whole seat was wet. So I already had a wet ass before I actually even got onto the drop.
No, you got to buy the $50 water poncho before going on that ride.
Yeah, I noticed everybody but me had a poncho on, and I'm like, this is fine.
Yeah, don't go there if you have a fear of wetness.
A fear of wetness. But yeah, also what I like about this Splash Mountain one, I mean, it's middle of the pack. What I like about this is it's basically the commercials. So, we've seen some of the commercials, covering Ernest when we were watching all these movies. But yeah, it's just literally Ernest talking to the camera. Sometimes it's Vern. Actually, we gotta talk about Vern. We'll talk about Vern in a little bit, but yeah, he's just talking to this omnipresent like friend or whoever, and he's just practicing for Splash Mountain. It's very goofy. I'm talking about the Disney character Goofy. Like, if you remember, he did those like how-to sketches where it's like how to do sports and all that. It's like kind of the same idea, and it's fun. It's a fun thing to watch for 20 minutes.
Well, that's the thing. It's 20 minutes, so that automatically gets a high mark for me.
For me, it's middle of the pack. There's still movies that I put on this list. Somehow, Africa is a better experience for me than Splash Mountain.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
That's well, I guess we should move on to number 4 then.
What is number 4 for you?
Well, I mean, we're getting to the top of the list, so we have to converge here at some point. Ernest Scared Stupid.
That is my number 3.
The things I'll say about it, first off, I think is that the most recent one we even watched?
Yes, so again, didn't watch this in any order. What we did was, so like we said, we watched Ernest Saves Christmas on a Christmas. We watched Ernest in the Army during, like, I think it was like Memorial Day weekend, because that was about the troops. So like we try to have a theme to watch these.
We do themes around here.
That's why it took so goddamn long to watch all this shit.
A bunch of idiots, but yeah. So we watched this on, well, but not watch it on Halloween, but we watched it during the Halloween season, and the things that I didn't like is anything the Chiodo brothers touch. I don't care. When you're a special effects guy and you got to be known as like the Chiodo brothers, like fuck off. We're not. Why are they're being treated like they're band members or something?
First of all, how dare you? Second of all, how fucking dare you? Chiodo Brothers are fucking classic special effects and like puppet artists.
They sound like they should make drum and bass sounds. Like, I hate their stupid name.
Who's to say they didn't? They might have done that as a side project.
Yeah, well, either way, I don't care for their design work. I think they're clowns from outer space. Like, their stuff is so gross looking.
They do have a type, don't they? A lot of their stuff is very, very gross. Hey, we also saw their I can't imagine why they didn't want to be credited. They also did Theodore Rex.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, exactly. See, like, they get no praise from me.
Well, they'll get praise from me. It's all practical. It looks fucking great for me. Yes, seeing a troll snot bubble for most of the movie is gross.
Yeah, they love their goop and their snot and all the stuff I hate. Their slimes.
We all have something in common. That's our fetish, is goop.
Is goops and slimes, and I hate all of that stuff, so that doesn't work well for me.
That's why when I ordered from that Goop Ghost Kitchen from Gwyneth Paltrow, I was very disappointed there was
extra slime, please.
Extra slime on my salad, please.
Yeah, and yet I still rated it higher than average because even though I don't like the Chiodo brothers, I gotta respect that they even went there in the first place. They went really hard on this specific Ernest movie for whatever reason. It there's a lot of, again, like practical effects. It's also, it's a Halloween. I love the Halloween theme. It's not really a horror movie, but it's horror themed. So all that kind of stuff works for me.
Yeah, what's interesting is that this is, it's funny, like, whenever I talk to people that we were doing this, which people were like, why? But the other thing they were talking about was like, oh yeah, Ernest Scared Stupid. That's my favorite Ernest movie as a kid.
As a kid.
As a kid, yes. Key word, not 30-year-old grown men like we are watching these movies. But it's usually, Ernest Scared Stupid is usually touted as the most popular of these movies because the troll work. Even though you don't like the Chiodo brothers, like, it's memorable. It's like, it's kind of really fucked up as a kid because these trolls are turning kids into like wooden puppets or whatever, and like they're gross looking. It's like, yeah, it's a pretty memorable experience to watch this movie if you're a little kid.
Yes, I'm sure if you're a stupid little baby, you're gonna love this movie.
But also, like, you know what? They went a little too hard, Trevor, because this was the last of the Disney movies. So they did 4 Disney movies. This is the last one. This movie did so poor at the box office because it was deemed too scary for kids, so most people didn't watch it, and Disney were just like, get out.
Yeah, maybe don't get the Chiodo brothers next time and go with I don't know, some random schmuck who can design something that's not horrifying.
You got the Imagineers. Why did you get the Chiodo brothers?
Yeah, get the guys who did the Hall of Presidents to do your Scared Stupid movie.
But one little note before we keep moving on. So again, there's all this one because again it's about trolls kidnapping children. There's so many annoying kids. The lead actor, like, kid of this movie, his name's Austin Nagler. I told you this while we were watching the movie, but this kid gets a kiss in the movie from a girl that he likes, and apparently, if IMDb is to be believed, Austin was bullied so relentlessly in real life because in the movie a girl kissed him that they were just making fun of him. So this is his one and only acting gig. He never acted again.
Which, it's so funny to bully a kid for getting a kiss, because it's like, that's like what you're all going to be obsessed with in like 5 years anyways.
Cooties. Ernest gets cooties. That could have been a movie. But again, I guess he's asexual. Yeah, but he's asexual. Unless, there was rumblings after Army that they were going to do like, kind of like what they did with Ace Ventura. Like, they were going to do like a kid Ernest movie. I don't know if it was him as a kid or is going to just be a new franchise with Ernest, a kid pretending to be Ernest.
You could reboot Ernest.
I don't think you can. It's, again, like, there's one Larry the Cable Guy. I think there's one Ernest. I don't know who or what could play Ernest today.
An AI. They can make AI Ernest.
Oh, I mean, sure. Spoiler. Go back to our episode with Frank. There's some AI Ernest in that one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so Ernest Scared Stupid, it's technically higher amongst the rest, but I still... Okay, here's the funny thing. I don't really care much for any Ernest property whatsoever. I think they're all just either terrible or just okay. I don't love any of these movies. Let's just get that out of the way.
We're at least in terms of the recording, not editing, but we're like almost an hour deep, Trevor, and you're saying that this list is not needed.
And I forgot to mention at the top that, yeah, I don't really care much for Ernest, I think.
Well, we still got 3. We got our top 3. So let's see if we can salvage this with our top 3. So what is your number 3?
Is the first episode of the TV show.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, this is a little tricky because I just did the whole show overall. So I have it as number 8.
Yes, it is number 3 because here's why, okay? It was incredible when I first watched it because it is unbelievably stupid, and it's like it could genuinely like gives a normal neurotypical kid ADHD because of how all over the place it is.
First of all, were you scared stupid? Because you said it was you were stupid watching it.
I was scared stupid previously, and this scared me straight because I see the genius behind Ernest with the first episode of this TV show.
Okay, we need to unpack. Well, maybe we shouldn't unpack this because you literally just said 2 minutes ago that you don't care. You don't care for Ernest.
I don't.
Now you're saying it's like I've finally seen the genius of Ernest.
I see the genius. It's more so the genius of the specific editing of the show, which I find whoever the editor is, give them a raise if they're not dead already. Because my God, it is one of the crazy, like, it makes TikTok seem less stimulating because it goes from just one sketch to another. Like every 15 seconds there's a new sketch going on that just makes no sense.
Well, just in case for non-YouTube viewers, this show is called Hey Vern, It's Ernest. That was the show. Just want to bring that up if people are a little confused. Yeah, so it's Hey Vern, It's Ernest. It was a 13-episode, 1-season Saturday morning special. It's trying to be like Pee-wee's Playhouse. That's what I got out of it, was watching this, was Pee-wee's Playhouse. But it's just so janky and like so cheap, and it just feels like they're desperate to try and make content. I watched a couple more episodes on my off time. Yeah, it's just the same shit over and over and over again.
So that's why I need to clarify. I'm specifically singling out the first episode because... So here's the problem. I thought the first episode was a genius, like, honest to God, work of art. We talked about how funny it would be if you put this up in an art installation, and every sketch was just, like, blaring at once, and, like, it would like, cause sensory overload. But then we were like, there's no way the rest of the show could be this crazy. And so we watched the third episode, and it's the exact same sketches again. Like, every single character shows up, even down to, like, the same, what was the stupid, like, he wants to be a Wall Street tycoon, and the barber mishears him and says, like, oh, I thought you said a water balloon or whatever. And it's every episode, assuming, it's the same joke every single time. And it's just, it gets tiring. Like, how? How could you come up with a show where you just do the same sketches over and over again?
And it's not even the same jokes. It also feels like the same editing, because that same gag with the barber, it's the same montage of him getting the haircut made.
It's so what I thought was genius at first just became laziness once we watched more than one episode. Because, clearly they just filmed every sketch. Every episode has the same sketch, so they filmed 13 times the same sketch over and over again, and they got to save money on it, and it was just, So it was very disappointing to watch. So if you're going to watch the TV show, just watch one episode, doesn't matter which one, just any episode, and then never watch the other 12 episodes.
See, I'm going to disagree with you because, again, I made the show overall number 8. You're making this pilot as your number 3.
Yes.
So already this list is already off the fucking rails trying to figure this out. But I agree with you that the pilot is actually interesting because, yes, the next 12 episodes are very much the same structure, same everything. But the first one, the editing is so more erratic with its editing.
It
that
is.
The next 12 episodes are like, it's just so dull and like uninspiring. The first episode, you're right, we're watching this and we're like, holy shit, how have we not heard of this show?
Yeah.
Because it's all over the place.
And that's why, my recommendation is just watch the very first episode then. He's right, I forgot. It gets more timid over time, which is crazy when you watch the first episode. You're like, how could it get any less crazy than this? But it does. So just watch the first episode. Probably not on any mind-altering drugs because that could damage you permanently. Just watch it sober.
It feels very much like a Tim and Eric sketch sometimes. Because it's just, there's not even just the same sketches. There's just random cutaways of people reacting.
Yeah, there's like the clown father one, which I've seen the sketch technically like a few times, and I don't understand what the joke is.
That's all of Ernest. I don't understand what the joke is.
Yeah, I don't get what the joke is. But yeah, no, so that's why it's number 3, because it's very memorable to me, just specifically how crazy that first episode is.
And while overall I did not like the show, I did love the opening titles. Like, every Saturday morning cartoon had a banger song, and also just the weird like cut out like title cards and like interstitials throughout. It's like that, so 80s. It's so great. I will say, get that as wallpaper. Find those stuff from the show and make that as your wallpaper, because they're pretty fucking great.
And I remember the theme song is very like weird. It's like weird industrial like music just filtered through like a homeless person's recordings, because it's just a bunch of random nonsense. What's
that one genre of music you introduced me to the other month? Are you
talking about harsh noise?
Harsh noise?
Yeah.
Is this the harsh noise of Saturday cartoons?
It's just Merzbow just on repeat. Yeah, you gotta listen to the theme song. It's incredible.
I'd say the theme song's better than hard noise, because when you showed me hard noise, I'm like, this is just white noise, just amplified.
It's just white noise filtered through like 100 times dynamic filtering. It's great.
Like, it's funny, I actually talked about that with one of my coworker friends, and he's like, oh yeah, no, I know this band. And I'm like, what band? It's just a TV recording of white noise. That's all it is.
I think this is something where, like, once you hit, like, a certain age, you can't hear it anymore. It's like the mosquito test. So I think us younger folk can hear the noise, hear the music behind the harsh noise, but you older folks are like, what is this crap?
Yeah, fucking, like, Amadeus might be playing with your, like, tinnitus ears, and me, I'm just like, this just sounds like Channel 86 with no satellite feed.
To me, I just hear, yeah, just tinnitus. I love it.
All right, well, get away from tinnitus. Let's stop talking about Vern. We got 2 left.
And you're gonna hate me.
Yeah, so explain to me why my number 11, Slam Dunk Ernest, is your number 2.
Well, you're gonna hate me because my number 2 is Ernest Goes to Jail.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
No!
Pulled the rug out from under you, bitch. Yep, Ernest Goes to Jail is number 2. Your number 1 is my number 2.
See, this is why I'm not a gambler, ladies and gentlemen, because I did a 50-50 there, being so confident Jail was not going to be number 1, because for the entire goddamn run of this, Jail was our favorite one, but now you're saying Slam Dunk Ernest is your favorite.
It absolutely is, and I told you this before, that I loved Slam Dunk Ernest.
I remember you saying that, but I thought you were joking.
I don't joke around here, buddy. Not when it comes to Ernest.
Alright, so do you want to defend Slam Dunk Ernest, or do you want to talk about Jail first?
We gotta talk about Jail first.
Oh my god. Alright, well, ladies and gentlemen, I was ready for this to be the finale, not so much, with 10 minutes left of the podcast, but, okay, Ernest Goes to Jail is the best movie of the entire franchise, because, they have a completely different writer who is not in the circle circle of this Ernest crew.
They had a real writer.
Actually, yeah, a more real writer. He seems like he's more of a, like, sort of like Carrie Fisher did in her later years. Like, he would just rewrite scripts. Like, he was one of those kind of professional writers.
He's a script doctor, yeah.
Script doctor, that's the phrase I'm looking for. Yeah, his name's Charlie Conan, and, like, he worked on other things. Like, he wrote for Suburban Commando, so he probably wrote some banger lines in that one. But he also did, like, a bunch of Disney stuff. Like, he did Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas. So I think he was just a Disney dude that just got hired to write this movie because, I don't know, maybe Eisner and Katzenberg was getting sick of this shit with, the Ernest franchise. But, like, this movie, again, there's stuff we've talked about throughout this top 10 list, or top 11 list, top 11 list, where, yeah, there's some funny bits here or there, but I think Jail is, like, the most consistently funny movie. I was laughing throughout this thing.
It is. I do think, objectively, it is the most well-made Ernest movie, for sure.
Then why is it not number one?
Because I'm not objective, okay? I have my own stupid tastes.
Okay, you keep going.
From a filmic standpoint, yes, I think it is clearly, like, it has, like, some of the best jokes. It has some of the most interesting, like, sets and lighting. The acting is good because Jim Varney gets to play something other than Ernest for once.
Yes, so the conceit of this movie is, again, it's Ernest Goes to Jail. So there's apparently an evil doppelganger Ernest. I forget the character's name, but, like, yeah, he's just a bad guy that just happens to look like Ernest. And oops, somehow they switch places. So the bad guy is pretending to be Ernest while Ernest is stuck in jail. And yeah, not only does Ernest get to play that guy, who does pretty well, actually, being a very evil version of the Ernest character, but, like, there's a sequence where he has to get into character, Ernest does, to be the bad guy, so he just does, like, Ernest as, like, Clark Gable or whoever, like, the old-timey actors for the parents in the room, but he also has to pretend to be evil as well. Like, there's actually layers to that joke, which I appreciate very much.
It's his Oscar-winning performance, yeah.
It kind of is. And also, going back to you saying, like, oh, the lighting, what was your phrase that you like to use a lot when it comes to lighting, such as this movie?
Oh, it was bisexual lighting, yeah. A lot of greens and blues and purples.
I call it more Nicholas Winding Refn lighting, but yes, it's the same thing. Yes, I will say this does kind of have a love interest, because we're talking about whether he's, like, smooth down there or not. Like, there is somewhat of a love interest, like, both the good and the bad Ernest talks to, but, like, you know, what's funny is like, the whole conceit of the movie, outside of him being in jail, is that Ernest is a janitor at a bank. He's always a fucking janitor or gardener. He's never anything else but that, but he wants to be a banker. He wants to work at, be an actual guy at the bank. But, like, that plot line never gets resolved. The movie just kind of ends at 81 minutes, and, like, doing some research, it's like, there's a lot of scenes deleted from this movie, which I appreciate, because it kind of adds to the chaoticness of the whole movie and makes the jokes, like, land better.
All the jail stuff is great. All the bank stuff is crap, especially because the set they had for the bank is god-awful. I just remembered I praised the set earlier. The jail set's great. The bank set is, like, terrible.
I will say the bank stuff is a little because it's Bobby and Chuck again just doing their wacky antics, but it's fine. I think it's their better use of them, because Bobby, who's the silent type, is a security guard who's packing heat.
Oh, yeah.
And that leads to a good, like, little thing towards the end of the movie.
I think that's probably the best, like, little side stuff that they got going on in all these movies.
And you know what? I'm going to spoil a joke. I'm trying my best not to spoil anything about these movies, but my favorite joke in all of these Ernest movies happens in this movie. So, it's funny enough just to start with this. Ernest is about to get electrocuted in the chair. Whatever crimes evil Ernest did, God knows what he did, he's going to get the chair for it. But my favorite joke, and it's such a fucking Looney Tunes gag, the door at the electric chair room just says vacancy. And then they shove him into the room, and a guy flips a sign, and it says no vacancy. And it was so fucking funny.
It's a classic sign gag, yeah.
All right. Well, I think I walked into this trap because I feel like I told you this was going to be my worst movie, and then you just decided to say this is the best. But go ahead. Please defend Slam Dunk Ernest for the crowd.
Slam Dunk Ernest, baby. This is okay, so here's the funny thing. Again, my Ernest theory. I thought this was the first one we watched. So what was it? Was it the third one we watched?
I think it was the third one we watched.
Are you serious? Hold on. I can have proof of this because I record when I watched these. And I can tell you 24 May 2025. I think you're wrong.
Oh.
Nope, this was February 8th, 2025. This was before Ernest in the Army. Ernest in the Army was not the first one we watched.
No, you mean Ernest in Africa? Because that's the first one we watched.
Oh, hold on. You might be right. Yep, sure. Oh, never mind. Cut that. Anyways,
No, it's there for posterity now. You told me earlier not to cut anything.
All right. Well, okay. So my Ernest theory is still completely blown out of proportion because, yeah. Okay. I guess this was the third thing we watched or something. I don't know why this was my favorite one. It's like, trying to describe the color orange. I don't know how to describe it. I just know it when I see it. And when I see Slam Dunk Ernest, I'm like, yep, that one was my favorite. I think because there was a little bit of that movie Like Mike, which was a favorite of mine as a kid, where it was a little Bow Wow.
Little Bow Wow, yes. It's such a ripoff. It's more of a ripoff, I think, of Flubber, because I don't think Like Mike came out at the time of Slam Dunk Ernest.
Well, I also loved Flubber as a kid, so that also works for me. But yes, I loved Like Mike as a kid. I wanted to be like Mike too, and so Ernest showed me the way by getting, what was it, the shoes that... What was the conceit in this? He gets shoes that are magical. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar gives him magic shoes, right? He's an angel.
First of all, it's airplane actor Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Thank you very much.
That's what I said, yes.
But it's not just magical, it's also religious, because he's an angel in this movie for some reason.
Exactly. So that was part of the humor to me, where I'm like, why is this angel talking to Ernest?
Ernest Goes to Hell. That should have been the next movie.
Yeah, well, I think we joked about that, where like Ernest Goes to Hell would be a really great Ernest movie. If they ever reboot it, if you want to call us up, we can write this. We don't know who could be Ernest, but we could do this.
Yeah, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as an angel gives him magic shoes that have a life of their own, so you get some wacky, quote-unquote wacky comedy with that.
You get those really those really cool shots where he's like flying and they just like have him on like a crane or something and they're just like suspending him up in 30 feet in the air. Like, that's great.
You're saying it's cool, it looks cheap. Everything about this movie is so even cheaper than Ernest Goes to Africa somehow.
It is. I distinctly remember now, whenever they show like the crowd shots, it's like 10 people just like in folding chairs.
It's the same 10 people in an auditorium.
Exactly. See how we're laughing right now? It's funny. That's why this is my favorite, because it's just, it's so bad. And that's what makes this so funny.
What's weird is that they had like the Charlotte Hornets. Somehow they got the NBA involved and they were agreed to the then new expansion team Charlotte Hornets to be in this movie. But there's no professional players. I looked it up. Other than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who's a former Laker, by the way, not a Hornet, I don't know why the Hornets are in this movie. It also makes no sense. They're like a ragtag group of like local basketball players. Why are they playing against NBA pros?
Because it's Ernest and he's got magic shoes and he can dunk from 30 feet away. It's incredible.
And it's actually, now I think about it, it's very similar to Ernest Goes to School in that, like, he gets so good, he becomes an asshole to all of his friends.
Yeah.
And he sides with the villains for a little bit.
Yeah, it's like interesting character dynamics.
Interesting character dynamics. That's the phrase you're going with.
Yeah, that's how I'm going with this. See, I'm turning you around.
No, you're not. You're not turning me around. Trevor, I think what we have to do is we need to rewatch this movie. And we have to rewatch all 9 movies and do this over again.
Oh, I'd rather chug a bunch of pills than do that.
I mean, the whole concept of Ernest has changed for me now because you did this.
Yeah, Ernest just sucks. I'm sorry. Like, this was my first and only time I'm ever gonna watch. I'm so glad I never have to watch Ernest ever again after this, because it's just a blip on my life. It's a blight on my life. I'm glad we did it for the podcast episode at least. We did 18 months of prep work for this podcast. Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
This is the longest bit that I ever had to commit to in my life.
Oh, so this bit lasted so long to get to this point.
Way too long. Good lord.
And to the point where our intros and outros of this podcast for a few months were bits for this thing.
Yeah, we really built this up. And I don't know why. Why did we do this?
I don't know. You know what I learned out of all this is that, life used to be simple. It used to just be you just would get some Joe Schmo off the street and he would become a major star. And, I think it really shows just how different Hollywood has turned in the last 30 years since the last Ernest movie. or just about 30 years, and I think it's a good representation of America, because John Cherry and Jim Varney had a dream to just hawk merchandise using a hick character in Tennessee, and that turned into, like, a major movie star and, like, entertainment to the masses for a good decade. A lot of people can't say that. So, you know, I think Ernest is a good representation of the American dream, and that's what I got out of these 9 movies. And also, Slam Dunk Ernest is just fucking terrible.
Rest in peace, Jim Varney. I know you would have loved this podcast episode.
Yeah, I'm sure he did not like being typecast towards the tail end of his life, but hey, it got him money.
I'm sure he loved the dump trucks of money on his lawn.
The dump trucks of money that got spent on the Marlboro cigarettes that ultimately killed him. Well, I think on that note, on this really crazy, wild episode, I think we had a good time here. Well, no, we didn't. Trevor certainly didn't.
No, it's been a terrible time.
But, you know, I had a fun time with you as a friend watching this stuff, and that's all that matters.
Let's just say I say the same thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, folks, thank you for listening to this utter nonsense, and yeah, just have a good one. See you next episode.
Cue the Ernest theme song.
Hey, Vern, today's your lucky day. We knew you wouldn't want to oversleep, Vern. We only do it once a week, Vern. Me and all the other guys, Vern.
I saw 13 episodes of a show. You have only seen 4 or whatever.
When did you watch the rest of the 13 episodes?
Trevor, I have a life. Well, no, I don't have a life.
No, if you're watching all Ernest TV shows, you have no life then.
Trevor, I literally watched 9 movies with you in the span of 18 months. I clearly have no social life.
So wait, when did you watch the rest of these episodes? Like yesterday?
Not yesterday, but I watched them on my own free time in between you know.
Oh, buddy, that's so sad. That's like, that's the saddest thing I've ever heard from you.
Yeah.
And you've said a lot of sad things.
You know, it's funny. Whenever I tell people in public, hey, this is what we're doing for an episode, I do get some sad looks.
Yeah, and they pepper spray you because they're like, why are you talking to me?
Get away from me, you freak.
It's Ernest P Worrell with a story and a moral and a big chuckle, hip trip, double dip, super green show. You know what I mean? No!
The man's dead. He's not making any money off of this anymore. I can verify. Where's he buried? Can we go find him?
Okay, episode over. That's what we're ending it on. Where is he buried?
Where is he buried? Can we go find him?
Can we dig him up? You just want to grab his head and be like, know what I mean, Ernest?
Yeah, I want to use this. Stick my hand up his ass, but I'm working like a puppet. You know what I mean, Vern?
Okay, now it's over. All right.
We owe it all to you, Vern.